And when somebody shows up to your door and hands you Christmas lights and decorations and says, "We're the street."
Yeah, we don't know their story. We don't know if they're genuinely into Christmas or just on it for Instagram.
Welcome to Holiday Film Countdown. I'm Jamie Walter, and today we are going to Austin, Texas.
That's right. This film is Angel Sing, our 44th ranked holiday film. Hello, I'm Tim Walter. Sometimes a great family and wonderful local music isn't enough to help you with the grief, and it might just take an angel.
Our first guest is Tracy Dunn. Hello, Tracy. Please let us know what you're drinking and give us a quick thought on Angels Sing.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
and for making this beautiful ranch water with Pantalones tequila. It's the silver tequila and real Topo Chico, which, in my opinion, makes the ranch water
Okay.
with salt. And it's Pantalones is a McConaughey's tequila, so it's kind of a homegrown tequila in a way.
We are in Austin.
And we are.
What did you think of the movie?
I enjoyed it. I thought that it was very moving. It was a really good story. It had a lot of heart. And it's always great to see so many wonderful musicians and hear how they just bring certain songs to life.
All right. And our other guest is Marissa Archuleta. Hey, Marissa, what are you drinking and what's your initial thought on the film?
Hello, thank you also for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for being here.
I'm drinking the same thing as Tracy, Pantalones tequila ranch waters, which are very tasty. My first time having the tequila, and I'm a huge fan now, so yay! I really liked the movie. I think I'm one of those people that sticks to the Christmas movies that I'm familiar with. So this is one I hadn't seen before, and it kept me on my toes. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And like Tracy said, it had a lot of heart, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Great.
And I am drinking the same ranch water, and it is also my first time to be drinking this tequila, and I will have to say it goes down pretty smooth. I think I'm a fan of it for sure. And this film, I will have to say, it makes me laugh, it makes me cry, it makes me feel, so I enjoyed it.
All right. And that makes it the first time that all four of us are drinking the same thing. It is very delicious.
Cheers.
Very, very good. And this film made the countdown late. It was a rather late ad. I was listening to another podcast and they compared this to another film on the countdown. And I said, okay, let's check it out. And it happens to be local. It worked out and here it is. And we're going to talk plenty about it.
Yeah, a little background. Angel Sing is written by Lou Burney and Turk Pipkin. It's an adaptation of Turk Pipkin's novel, When Angels Sing. Pipkin has written over a dozen TV series and movies, while also appearing as an actor in many, including The Sopranos. Angels Sing is directed by Tim McCanny.
Angel Sing was released in 2013 and it premiered at South by Southwest that year. This film is set in Austin, Texas, and all of the scenes were shot in the Austin area. Salt Lick Barbecue and Auditorium Shores featured prominently, with a 10-year-old version of the Austin skyline. It does not look like that anymore. Harry Connick Jr. and Connie Britton star as the couple at the center of the story. We also have Willie Nelson and Lyle Lovett and Chris Christopherson in prominent roles, with other Austin musicians appearing.
So, Tracy, what is your history with Angels Sing?
This was my first time to see it. I hadn't even heard of it before. So I was excited to see it, especially when I saw, in the trailer, people like Willie Nelson and Harry Connick Jr. and Chris Christopherson and Marsha Ball. Just, really great. Wow, love it. Just such great artists with a connection to Texas.
Yes.
And Marissa, do you have any history with this film?
I don't. I hadn't seen this before, but I was definitely intrigued after seeing the trailer with Willie Nelson and the other actors.
Yeah, my history, I've seen it one other time, but I agree with Tracy. The lineup, the actors and actresses in this film just got me excited, and definitely the connection to Austin and the overall state, Texas, too, got me excited about it.
All right, and I had not heard of it either, but it does remind me of Deck the Halls, which was, I think, our number 48 film in this countdown. It's kind of a similar vibe where there's someone on the street who's going against the grain and has to deal with lights all around their street.
All right, let's check out the trailer.
For Michael Water, the holidays were anything but happy.
Christmas has become so completely over commercialized.
But this July, the Yuletide is about to turn.
This is unbelievable.
Hallmark Channel invites you to a Christmas keepsake special presentation
What ties a family together? It's the memories.
starring Harry Connick Jr. and Connie Britton. Angels Sing.
Well, I feel like after watching the trailer that I just saw the whole movie all over again in a quick version of it. I feel like they put maybe a little too much in and maybe it was a little too long. What do you think, Tracy?
Yeah, I mean, the trailer gave a lot away,
Sure.
you know, from the beginning to the end. So you got a really good idea, though, of what, without some of the, having seen the movie now, though, there's a lot more between the lines of what was in the trailer, but you kind of know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
What did you think, Marissa?
I think the trailer did give a lot away, but having seen the movie and learning more about the characters, there's much more depth to it. Than, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't give away the tragedies that happened. So
No.
it made it
Didn't
more of
give
a
it
feel good.
away, but it definitely hinted that there are.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you need to watch and see exactly why this guy's this way.
Yeah. And where Angels Sing, where the title came from.
Exactly.
All right. So we were unable to find any record of Angel Sing in theaters. So it seems to have gone straight to the Hallmark Channel. This is a Hallmark movie, but not their usual tale of romance. We do have that traditional Hallmark Christmas love story coming up later in this holiday film countdown, though. Any Hallmark movie watchers here?
Oh, yes.
All year or just seasonal?
It's seasonal. I love the cheesy Christmas movies. What can I say?
Okay.
I love where they take you. I grew up with my mom reading Hallmark novels, romance novels. So I knew who Fabio was when I was like 4. And it was just funny because whenever you would ask her, "How you doing? What you been up to?" She'd be like, "Well, I'm in New Zealand and I'm being swept off my feet by, whoever." She would like give you what she was reading.
Nice.
How about you, Marissa?
No, I am not a Hallmark watcher, but I am going to be after hearing Tracy's story here. I'm sold. I'm getting the Hallmark Channel.
I will have to say, I do like Hallmark movies, and they are very predictable, right? You know what you're going to get. And part of me, I think that's what I like about it. And honestly, even though this isn't the traditional love story, so to say, but you do get the exact same thing that you get out of most Hallmark movies, which is, a little bit of sadness, then a happiness, and definitely a great ending. And I like that.
All right. So, though it did not go to theaters, it went to DVD. So, over $2 million in DVD sales. And I could not find a production budget. So, we're figuring probably a $10 million movie to make. Just guessing. So, Angel Sing has a score of 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's the highest so far in the countdown. And we are all going to give our own reviews and scores later.
So, Tracy, what are your thoughts on the setting as far as like the Christmas decorations, just the set that they used? What do you think?
I mean, the house that they bought is incredible. I thought it was beautiful. The neighborhood it looked great. They didn't show a ton of the neighborhood, but just you kind of got the feeling that you knew what the neighborhood was about by all the people coming to the door. It almost, to be honest, it felt more like New Orleans in some ways than it did to Texas, just because of the house and the fence around the house. But all the scenes in the city, they were beautiful. It was really cool to see Austin Auditorium Shores,
Yeah.
10 years ago. I loved a lot of the places. Like I love the Salt Lake scene
Yeah.
because Dale Watson. I love Dale Watson. He's honky tonk. He's so Texas, and he's just one of a dying breed. And it's just great to see him in the Salt Lake of all places, just doing his thing.
It's funny that you mentioned New Orleans because that's where Harry Connick Jr. is from. So that's interesting
Yeah.
that you brought that up.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a lot of the old traditional houses, right? Kind of
Mhm.
that you would see in New Orleans. They're the house that they ended up buying.
Yeah, but the grandpa's house was totally it looked like a
Yeah.
South Austin neighborhood somewhere, and that was so cool. Chris Christopherson playing the grandfather. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any comments on this area, Marissa, on maybe the carolers, reindeer, any of the traditional holiday tropes?
Oh, absolutely. I loved how they brought in local musicians as carolers. Like we recognized the Trishas, which is a local band. So that was neat to see them as a group singing. Let's see. I thought they did a great job with the sets, like the neighbor with the fake snow in the yard and just getting glimpses of Austin throughout the movie. I think you mentioned earlier, like at the beginning, you see a shot of the downtown skyline, which is completely different from today. So I couldn't stop staring at that, like watching that. I was like, wow, it's just changed so much. So that was neat to see. Yeah, I thought they did a great job.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, speaking of some of the Christmas-like stuff that they had in it, how about that fruitcake at the beginning?
With the
Oh, that was
jalapenos.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I
Little
mean,
Texas flair with the jalapenos on top of that fruitcake.
well, and poblamos
That's right.
and serranos. They didn't stop with the jalapenos. They
Very
threw
true.
all the peppers at it, and
I think that's the only way I could get a fruitcake down, spiced up like that.
Yep.
I wonder if that's where they got the idea to make like cheese, jams with spices in them.
Yeah, to make it taste better.
Yeah. Likely it up.
And then what about the reindeer? We had reindeer a couple of times
Yes.
on the mountain bike trail. We're thinking that's the green belt.
Definitely.
And
That
then,
reindeer was not native either.
no, that's not a whitetail. And then the three on the roof at the end, of course, that they had brought up from San Antonio.
Yeah.
And we had a leg lamp from A Christmas Story and a Hallmark Christmas trope, which I learned when we were doing our Hallmark episode. An old red pickup truck is in most Hallmark Christmas movies.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Sure.
So be looking for that. And then we didn't get explicit eggnog, but we did get a latte, an eggnog flavored latte.
Mhm. All I wanted was a cup of black coffee. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And there were two brass reindeer above the mantle, which looked like Hallmark reindeer you could walk into the store and buy.
Ah.
They were above the fireplace of the house when they first walked in.
So a little product placement.
Yes. Little
Very,
product.
very sharp.
Definitely tons of lights because the carolers were their neighbors that kept coming over and bringing them lights, saying, here are some lights for you to put up because they were resistant at the beginning to decorate their house. And until they had a attic full of Christmas decorations and lights to put up. And but the neighbors, I liked, the neighbors didn't just bring over the decorations. They actually would knock on the door and sing a song to get them. They were actually the carolers in the movie to get them to come out.
And also offer to help them put the lights up.
Yes, yes, very neighborly. Very
Yes.
neighborly. Love it.
Inserting their will. Let's keep this up.
Yeah.
You're on the street. You're
Come
on the
on.
Live Oak Street.
Yeah,
This is
we'll
the
help
street.
you. We'll help you.
Yeah, I'm not sure who had jobs on the street. We'll get to that later.
What about the snowman though? There was a snowman. Let's talk. We can't forget about him.
Somebody
yeah.
come.
And what did we notice about that snowman?
Well, Frosty, it was Frosty. I'll
Yes.
just give it up.
That's right.
Sorry to spill the beans on for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But Frosty is in the movie. Frosty does not want to go in the attic. I'll just say that. And talk about turning your frown upside down. Frosty was happy, and then they wanted Frosty in the attic. Not happening. Frowning. Frownable moment for Frosty.
Yeah, watch for that scene.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, they're trying to, Harry Connick Jr., his character's trying to push him into the attic, but he's so big that he's not going that well, right? And there you see a glimpse of his face turn, his smile turns upside down.
Yeah. I gotta wonder where the Humane Society was for that episode. Like, I don't know what they cover snowmen. Who's got the snowmen?
All right, so let's move into the characters and actors. So we have Michael Walker and his wife Susan Walker. They're the leads here, they're the couple. Michael is played by Harry Connick Jr., and we know him from, well, he was a jazz musician, a big band musician. I'm from New Orleans, he's from there. His father was actually the DA of Orleans Parish the whole time I was growing up. So I always heard his name on the news. And then here comes his son.
How cool.
And then he starred in Hope Floats with Sandra Bullock, also set in Central Texas.
Great movie.
He was on Will and Grace some. He was on American Idol. That's how my kids know. And what do we think of him in this film?
I mean, I thought he did a good job, but I'm a little partial to him because I love his Christmas CD that he has. I love his jazz take on the traditional Christmas songs. So to me, I thought he was fitting in this role because of that.
Yeah, I love Harry Connick Jr. I think he's a great actor. I think he's really talented. He's believable. And his personality it kind of shines through in the role. It seems like what his personality is like. Because, I mean, I've seen him in interviews. What stands out is when we've had some major flooding in the Houston area and how he came from New Orleans. He helped, he was driving, supplies to people, and just hearing him talk in real life situations, I feel like he brings a piece of himself to all the roles he's been in. Same with Hope Floats. I think he's awesome.
Okay, and then we also have Susan Walker, played by Connie Britton. I know her from Friday Night Lights, Tammy Taylor, principal, coach's wife. And then you all mentioned American Horror Story. She's also on a long-running series, Nashville. You all have any thoughts on Connie Britton?
Yeah, actually, I think I recall her being in a movie from years ago, The Brothers McMullen. Has anybody seen
I know that one, yes.
Yeah, I think that maybe was early in her career, but I remember her being an excellent actress then, and I thought she did a phenomenal job in this movie as well. Yeah, very believable and very likable character. She had some really funny lines too. Very relatable. I enjoyed her character.
Agree. I like her. She's great. She plays, so many different, she's very versatile, I think. And she has just this kind of way about her where I think she's always classy. Like whatever's happening, she's a class act,
And she's always got the relaxed kind of persona, right? Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe this is wrong. I don't know. But I call it a twang to her voice that to me, maybe it's because I'm from Texas, it sounds soothing, And I always like the roles that she plays. I always feel like she does a good job.
She could always calm everyone down on Friday Night Lights. That was her role.
Yeah.
That's how she got to be principal. She was a counselor, and then she became principal.
True.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. I need to go back and watch that.
Oh, man, you
Oh,
have to.
it was awesome.
Never did get into that one.
All right, and we also have Nick, played by Willie Nelson. He's Santa. He's an angel. He's Santa again at the end. And I'm going to ask, does anyone here have a favorite Willie Nelson song?
I have so many.
Oh yeah. You're always on my mind.
Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Did he write that one? Or was that Hank Williams? Did Hank write that?
I mean, he made it what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a writer before he was a singer.
Yeah, Crazy. He wrote Crazy.
He wrote Crazy for Patsy
Patsy
Cline.
Cline.
So many good ones. I like On the Road Again.
Oh yeah.
I almost want to sing it when I sing it. But he has so many good ones. Like the list could go on and on.
I love his duet he did a remake of Under Pressure with the singer from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Karen O. So Karen O and Willie Nelson did a duet, if you haven't heard it.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing, of that David Bowie and Freddie Mercury song.
Okay.
Under
I'll look
Pressure.
for it. I've heard the duet with Carrie Underwood of Always on My Mind, which is great.
Oh, I do love that too.
That's a
I
good
love
one.
that one.
It's beautiful. And when he started singing Amazing Grace in the movie,
Oh, I know.
oh,
And Silent Night, yeah.
just brings tears to your eyes.
He's just one of the few.
soulful voice.
Well, yeah, so soulful and just makes it their own. There's some singers out there that do that, like Johnny Cash did that, and Willie Nelson, and who's this dude? Anyway, yeah.
Charlie Crockett. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I was gonna say he's Stapleton, Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton.
He kind of does that too, for the country western, and even Dale Watson.
I know.
He's awesome. He always has that honky tonk. It's like I want to go back and be like Loretta and Tammy.
I always wondered how Dale didn't make it bigger. I'm sure he did too. But he has a unique look and a distinctive voice. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Willie did a good job. Well, I thought it was kind of stoic, the first scene with him, where Harry kind of just rides up on his bike and he's sitting on the porch and he just kind of stoic sitting there like, hello. And just ironically, he has his house for sale, this beautiful house that they're looking for, you know. I loved it.
I did too.
Well, let's do it.
Excuse me.
You want to buy the house or not?
Nick, I've already told you I can barely afford half of what this place is worth.
Well, if you can afford half of what it's worth, half is what I'm going to charge you.
What?
It's important to me that the right family wind up in this house. I'll take half.
You're not serious.
Serious as a heart attack. You trying to weasel out on the deal?
No, I just...
Well, I need an answer right now. I'm taking a huge leap of faith with you, and I need us to leap together. What do you say?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, one condition. People in this neighborhood take a lot of pride, you know. So you got to do the right thing. It's important that you keep the lawn mowed, and you can't paint the house pink. It's important that you keep up the neighborhood standards.
I understand. No pink.
It's very important.
I get it. Absolutely. No problem.
Congratulations. You got yourself a house.
All right, well, let's move on to Lyle Lovett. He plays Griffin, the neighbor across the street. I know Lyle Lovett from really when he married Julia Roberts is when I first heard the most about him. But real music aficionados knew who he was. And over the years, I've picked up some of the tunes, and I've grown to appreciate who he is.
Agreed. I love Lyle Lovett. He's an amazing musician. I think one of the first songs I remember was "That's Right, You're Not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway." Yeah, and then of course Julia Roberts. I love that. I loved him in the movie. He was a great neighbor. He brought like something where I would probably be so annoying if I was knocking on your door repeatedly trying to get you to put up your lights, but he had this calming like way about him, like you couldn't get mad at him. Like I couldn't get mad at him. Like he wasn't the annoying neighbor to me in that movie.
And he wasn't really going to get mad at Michael. He just kind of took it and rolled with it and figured he'd come around, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a sense that he was genuinely wanting to just help. Like, hey, if you need help, here I am. Oh, I thought about it. You probably don't have a ladder. You need a ladder. Here's my ladder. You know?
Yeah.
Like it just felt like he was a genuine neighbor trying to help, not trying to be pushy.
Yeah.
Although it could have been, but it didn't come off that way.
And he wasn't judging him at all. He was
Right.
really coming from a place of wanting to help and from love. Yeah.
I agree.
They didn't even get mad at him when he ruined their supper and their jam session and came in and asked for the ladder.
He just kept it going.
They just kept it going, kept singing.
Any other comments on the actors or the characters? Anyone shine particularly or not show up for this? What about Chris Christopherson?
Love Chris Christopherson. I thought he was amazing. He was vulnerable but steady and just really shone through. I always loved the twinkle in his eye. I think he played the great grandfather role.
Yeah. Was he one of the singers in The Highwaymen?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in The Highwaymen. So it would have been really cool to see him and Willie together on screen, to see everybody together on screen. But they were definitely parts of the movie. But
They probably have a highwayman agreement that they couldn't do it without Johnny and Waylon. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep,
four of them.
Michael Jones, yeah.
So I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, I thought that he was really great. I thought Harry Connick Jr. was really great. I mean, I didn't really see anyone that I didn't think was believable.
Yeah, probably a couple of years before Chris Christopherson was diagnosed with dementia. So I know the last 5 to 6 years that was his journey, from what I've heard. What about the young actor who plays David, the son? His name was Chandler Canterbury. How do you do?
I thought he did pretty well. I think we were chatting earlier about how it's hit or miss with the young actors, but I thought his performance was strong and believable. Yeah.
Yeah, you could see the disappointment on his face when, he didn't think he was going to get to go to his grandfather's for Christmas. You felt it. He did a good job of putting that disappointment on his face, letting us know that he really wanted to be with his family at his grandparents' house for the holidays.
Yeah. And the scene, I don't want to spoil anything, but there was a scene later in the movie that was pretty dramatic with him and his father. And I thought his performance was quite strong there.
We're here to spoil. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. After the accident, yeah, where it was a very relatable moment for his father. And I thought that his performance was strong. He really brought it and was able to match Harry Connick Jr.'s character there. I mean, you got to remember, like, he's performing with these other strong actors. So I thought that he held his own.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I agree.
What about the scenes? Does anything hit you with, like, maybe the funniest scene? I'll start with when he agreed to buying the house with Willie Nelson, Harry Connick Jr. did. And Willie Nelson was really trying to push him into signing. You got to sign it now. So he did. And then he goes home and he tells his wife, guess what? I bought a house today. And she's like, what? Without consulting me, as any wife would do. And he goes, she's in the kitchen cooking dinner. And he goes, let me just stand between you and the knives right now. And he actually goes over and puts his hand on the knife set. I thought that was so funny. Anyone else?
That was funny.
I liked that scene too. And also the fruitcake scene. I don't know why that stuck with me. I think
It was disgusting looking.
yeah, it was a disgusting looking fruitcake, but it had that Texas flair with it, with all the peppers.
True.
So, and then the characters was just so enthusiastic about it, and she just cracked me up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the funniest scenes was, it was kind of, subtle. Well, not really. It just wasn't a long scene, but when Lyle Lovett was out in the front yard and he was spraying the snow and he had on the kind of like a scuba goggle, but it had peppermints all around it. And he's like shooting snow out and he looks up at Harry Connick Jr. because he's not doing any decorating. That was funny.
That was as mean as he got.
Yeah, that was as mean as he got. And he
Look.
wasn't even trying to be mean.
It was just a look.
It was just a movement with peppermint candies around.
So we have a lot of contenders for the sappiest scene.
Yeah.
True.
What do we think?
I think for mine was, I mean, I don't know if it's the sappiest, but I feel like Lyle Lovett did a good job of portraying the disappointment on his face when he did bring over the ladder and he said, I figured it out. The reason why you're not decorating is because you need a ladder. And he's standing there with his ladder to offer it for him. And Harry Connick Jr. was like, nope, that's not the reason. Nope, don't need it. And the look on his face was like, I thought I had figured you out,
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought he looked sad. I was like, I could feel the emotion from, I don't know if that's the sappiest though. I mean, obviously the church theme is it.
So I'm going to give three. Tell me what you think. One is Michael telling his son about the racer ice skates and his older brother David falling through the ice. The other one is Michael telling his mother that the grandfather had died. And then the other one would be when David realizes that his dad's decorating the house and decides to come back around and goes outside. So where are we at on this?
Me, the loss of Harry Connick's father with Chris Christopherson's character, Grandpa died. It just hits close to home for me because I recently lost my father, so anytime it's like it just hits me like, I had to look the other way, definitely had some tears well up in my eyes during that. And also, a scene you didn't mention that Jamie, we kind of talked about why the movie was playing, was when David looked at Harry Connick and said, I see what you mean about Christmas now. It is stupid. Like the whole, like, wow, like I projected this onto my kid and then here it's back in my face, It's like, what,
For me, it was Willie Nelson singing Amazing Grace. It didn't really tie into the story a ton, but just hearing him sing that song, it just almost brought tears to my eyes.
I agree. I love that song. It's a personal connection to me. It's one of my mom's favorites. So I felt that way too.
Yeah.
Because they're just the whole setting of being in this cute little church and I don't know, just the whole setting of it.
And the one that got me, I didn't even mention. It's when Grandma tells Michael, who gave you those racer skates? And that really, Grandpa was living with that his whole life, but he had to be the bigger adult and move on. So it was a chance for him to learn from his father, even after his father had passed.
different perspective.
Definitely.
All right, next, quotable lines. I didn't pick any up. Did anyone?
No, I don't think of any quotable lines, but I will have to say the line I liked was when I keep going back to this scene because I don't know why. I just thought he did such a good job when Willie Nelson was sitting on the porch and Harry Connick Jr. first rode his bike up to it. And he said, "You could call me Nick." And you're like, aha. Okay, that's who you are. You can call me Nick.
Yeah, I guess the line that sticks the whole way is the only stipulation is that you have to live up to the neighborhood standards. And that kept coming back on him. He's like, oh, okay, I can do that. Little did he know.
I liked,
Yeah,
I
harder
liked,
than he thought.
yeah, definitely because it was going to take more than he had to give. He didn't realize that
Had to dig deep.
going in. He had to dig in. And I think one of the memorable lines for me was Willie Nelson's character just saying it's about the memories. It's about the ones that you can control. That was a great line, I thought, because this is what you can make. You can't do anything about what's happened. You can't change those memories, but you have control over some of them, and it's about those.
Very well said. That's kind of like the moral of the story, what you say. Brings us right into the moral of the story. And I think you kind of hit it right there. It's like we're all going to have some hard times in life, but it's about being able to move on. And they also talk about how the greatest gift that you can give are the memories, right? And so he was kind of holding those memories away from his family because he wouldn't celebrate Christmas. And I think he got that. That's kind of what helped change him and come around to, you're right, I need to make these memories. It's all about the memories.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful because I think a lot of us maybe have periods in our life where we're like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I'm too busy to decorate the tree or blah, blah, blah. It's easy to make excuses or just not be in the mood. But I thought the movie was a good reminder. And also, if you have children, you got to think about the message you're sending to them, the example you're setting. So that hits home.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, especially as we're sitting here and we're all parents. Sometimes the holiday season can feel overwhelming, but that's because that's what we're making it be. It doesn't have to. It's really about the little things. I feel like, especially when your kids are little, they really just like the idea of the family being together. It doesn't have to be this crazy, blown out Christmas party or whatever. They're still going to remember it, even if you're just passing out candy canes or doing the small little things, making cookies together.
Gingerbread house.
Exactly. I mean, that is what they're going to remember. It's not, doesn't have to be this most expensive gift or, the things that sometimes I know as mothers, well, maybe fathers too, put it in their head that it has to be. It
Yeah.
really comes back to the little things.
Yeah, just about being together.
Absolutely.
And that made everybody happy when they were all together.
I know. I wish my family could sing like that.
That helps.
Goals. Family goals.
It'd start right here with this one, taking voice lessons.
So, do we have any hot takes on this film? Anything catch your eye, seemed off, or anyone with ulterior motives? Or were they all pretty genuine?
Well, I mean, all the neighbors kind of had ulterior motives. You know, they were trying to be forceful about the decorating in the nicest way possible. I mean, when somebody shows up to your door and hands you Christmas lights and decorations and says, "We're the street."
Yeah, we don't know their story. We don't know if they're genuinely into Christmas or just on it for Instagram. We don't know.
True.
That's the sequel.
Yeah.
I had one spot I noticed, and this is just a quick note. When Michael is in the attic watching the old home movies, that is a nod to Christmas Vacation.
That's
It's a very
true.
familiar scene.
I think there was a couple nods to Christmas Vacation. I think plugging in the lights,
Yeah.
the way that they did that.
Yes. Harry Connick Jr. had one end and the boy had the other end, David, the son, and they like plugged it. It was a special moment when they put them together, just like in Christmas
I
Vacation.
loved that. I was waiting for them to light up themselves, like
Blow some fuses.
yeah, like you did.
All right. And the parent guide for this is PG, which I feel is appropriate. And I feel like it's a movie for everyone. It does have a little bit of hard content with having a death, but you know, I mean, that's real life. And so I think PG is appropriate.
I
How do you
agree.
feel?
PG minus. This could have been a G plus movie.
You think?
Yeah.
I think PG for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think PG because of the mature content.
Which is,
The loss, the
Death.
death. That it definitely, if you're watching it with a younger child or even maybe a preteen,
Okay.
you know, you're going to have a conversation about that. Like that, you know, they might be bothered by some of that.
Good point. So you can't just walk away. You need to
Yeah.
parentally guide.
Yeah.
Let's-
Another nod to this movie, I will say that I felt I was telling you guys around the table is Miracle on 34th Street. So I see some National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and then the Miracle on 34th Street, which just the whole idea of the Santa and having the house and making it accessible to this family who needs it. So
yeah, and the town and the neighborhood basically coming together.
mhm.
Let's just say there's a pretty good chance that film will make the countdown. All right, let's go on to the soundtrack. So we had Chris Christopherson singing Pretty Paper and 12 Days of Christmas, kind of an informal version. We had,
Bat and a belfry.
oh yeah,
First
mixing
day of
it up.
Christmas.
Mixing it up. We had Willie Nelson in the hospital singing Silent Night. And then, of course, as mentioned, we also had Willie Nelson in the little church singing Amazing Grace. And then another one I really caught was, and this is when Michael was coming around and going to look for the ladder and some help. Lyle Lovett and Kat Edmondson were singing Christmas Time Is Here, which I know from the Peanuts Charlie Brown
Yes.
Christmas special.
Totally.
In fact, I hadn't heard anyone else sing that song, really, I don't think.
No, me either.
So those were the ones I noted. And then you all mentioned the Trishas. So what do you know about the Trishas?
They're a local Austin band of all-female band, and it's always fun to see one of the members because really I don't know her very well, but she's a local. I don't know if she lives here right now, but I've seen her around because we have children that are in similar age that went to the same school for a while. I know people who are friends with her. I've spoken to her just in passing, so it's really cool to see her. And I've seen her in other films too. She was in
The Richard Linklater, the 80s movie. Or it wasn't a remake, it was Everybody Wants Some.
okay.
Oh, okay. The sequel to Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
Not officially, but
Yeah.
semi-sequel to Dazed and Confused.
She also had a cameo in a more recent Hulu TV show. What was it called?
Handmaid's
The
Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. So it seems like she's doing a lot.
Oh, she's in
Yeah.
The Handmaid's Tale?
Talented actress and singer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, kind of a local gal. So it's always nice to like it's like I've actually interacted with her.
That's
so.
cool. Yeah, you all picked up on that right away. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. And it's someone you see around.
Yeah, to have that personal connection. It's always cool when you're like, hey.
Yeah, I know that person.
All right. Well, if you had to rate this movie, which you are going to right now, we're going to ask you to. How would you rate it, Tracy, from 1 to 5? What would you, 5 being the best, and tell us why you would rate it that way?
Keep in mind, Letterboxd put it at 2.9.
You know, I'm really close to Letterbox. I give it like a 3 out of 5. What made it, I think if it was any other cast, I don't know that I would have enjoyed it as much. I think that the musicians and recognizing them and having all that great music in it really brought it up to me as something that was entertaining. Otherwise, it was kind of depressing. You know, like there was a lot of tragic things. There was a few laughs. I think it could have been funnier. I think there could have been some more humor in it. So that's probably why I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, and you, Marissa, how would you rate this one?
I'm similar to Tracy. I would say maybe like a 3.2. I was between like a 3 and a 3.5. I found it very entertaining. I enjoyed watching it, but it definitely is a little bit of a Debbie Downer. There's some heavy content there, which I think when you're looking for a Christmas movie, a holiday movie, maybe you're looking for something a little more upbeat. So yeah, that's why I would rate it under a 4. But again, highly enjoyable, great cast. So I think that did bring a lot to it.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I think you are hitting it exactly. I want to put it higher. I want to put it at, I don't know, a 3.5, but I don't really think it's worthy of that. And I feel like I want to put it that way because I connect with the actors. Being a Texas girl myself, I like seeing those people. But in reality, if that wasn't there, if it was a different cast, I think it's probably more of a 3, in my opinion. I agree. At Christmas time, it's such a fun time that I would like it to be a little more upbeat. And usually at Christmas, you're watching it with family. And so you want it to be a feel good, family. And it is, but then it has a lot of heavy content. But what I will have to say is that being a Hallmark movie, which I like, did have a nice happy ending.
Yeah.
And I like a nice happy ending. I'm just going to say, I like it. So I'm going to stick with a 3.
Yeah, that minute and 30 seconds at the end was very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just imagining watching it with my children who are 8 and 12, and the end, like when it ends, I just imagine them just being sad. Like, let's go make some cookies. Let's cheer up.
Yeah.
Well, you stole my thunder because I was going to say it's by far the saddest we've seen so far. No doubt. I'm going 3.1. Just kind of hitting right where you all are. I had already typed that out, so we were thinking the same. And I think the musicians and local flair do matter in my scoring more than they should.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was very well made.
Yeah. I think if you have any connection to the artists that we've talked about, then you should watch it because, I mean, they did do a great job.
Yeah, it's fun to see them in there
It
on the
is.
big screen. Yeah.
I agree. And saying that, Tracy, would you recommend this movie to people? And if so, to whom?
I would recommend it to any music lover. I don't know that I would recommend it to everybody, but it's not like I'd say, you gotta see this movie.
Right.
It's so great, but it'd be just to hear Willie sing Amazing Grace is worthy, and seeing Dale Watson in Salt Lick, Marcia Ball banging out the keys. And I don't know there's a singer who's a caroler who shows up at the door. This lady, she's elderly, she's singing the blues. I don't know who she is. I'm curious to find out. Loved her.
So if anyone knows who that was, please comment to this podcast. And that's the reason I invited you on this one, Tracy, because I knew the musical connection would get you.
Yes, thank you.
And
For
Marissa,
thinking of me.
would you recommend it, and to whom?
I would recommend it to other Austinites who love the city as much as we do, who maybe will notice certain houses or certain skylines and just the nostalgia of it being filmed in Austin. And of course, Willie Nelson fans, absolutely, because it's just a pleasure to see him in anything.
Yeah, I really don't have anything different to say. I totally agree. I think anyone here in Austin will love this movie because just the scenery of Austin back a long time ago when it looks so different. And then just to have the musicians in it, it's fun to see.
Yeah, I can mark the time. Like 2013 is when my daughter was born. So I can have her watch it when the time is right and be like, this is what it looked like on Auditorium Shores when you were born.
There
And
you
she's
go.
going to be like, what is that?
A whole 11 years ago. Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
I know.
It's fast.
And that scene is actually at the very beginning of the movie. So if you're interested in just seeing the Austin skyline circa 2013, it's one of the opening scenes.
Yep.
Just get in and check out. You've seen what you need to see. I totally agree.
Music.
I would recommend it to the same folks you all would. People who love music, people who are curious about we go to Chicago and New York so much in this countdown. Of course, the North Pole too. And
True.
it is, you have to remember that people who live outside of snowy climates also celebrate the holidays. And so we have a couple. We have a couple here, and this is one of them.
We have snow machines. Like Lyle that he had.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the first snow my daughter ever saw.
Yeah, the fake. Yeah.
Fake snow.
That's what we have to do here for sure. So, Tracy, what is your favorite holiday film?
Oh, I've been thinking about this since you said it earlier. It's so hard.
I know.
I mean, you can cut it if you need to, but I'm gonna probably just give you three. Of like, movies, not animation. Miracle on 34th Street, very specific about that being the Natalie Wood version of Miracle on 34th Street. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, of course,
Yep.
and Home Alone.
Look at you.
Those are hard. It's a tough one to choose between those
It's
three for
hard,
sure.
so.
All right, I get that.
Probably forgetting something because I just,
I totally get that. And you, Marissa, what's your fave?
Oh gosh, it's so hard to choose. It's been mentioned many a time. I'm sure it'll be many people's favorites, but Christmas Vacation is just near and dear. I just love it. Can't miss out on some Clark Griswold.
It's tough. It's tough to beat that. It doesn't let up.
no.
Never disappoints.
Is that number one? Sorry. Just tell me later.
Definitely top 10. It's gotta be top 10.
Tune in.
So, Tracy, do you want to promote anything before we leave?
Kindness.
Kindness. Love it.
Kind. Remember, everybody is experiencing something on their own journey, and give grace. And that's it.
Very good.
And you, Marissa?
I love that.
I know.
Oh, I don't know how to
Yeah, I'm sorry you
ditto.
have to follow.
Ditto. I will say I love animals. Tracy does too. We rescued our dog from the Bastrop Animal Rescue.
Mhm.
They are fabulous there. So if you're looking for an animal, highly recommend checking them out. Frankie. Also Emancipet. I know that they do great work in Austin. So
Get your pets spayed and neutered.
yeah, just two organizations to keep in mind.
So that's a good tie because portions of this were shot in Bastrop in the Austin area. So
True. All right. Well, thank you for joining this discussion of our 45th ranked film, Angels Sing. Please like, follow, and comment on this podcast.
yes, please share and spread the word about Holiday Film Countdown. Thank you, Tracy and Marissa, for joining us, and thanks to all of our listeners. Next week, we're moving on to our 43rd ranked holiday film, which will take us to New York City.